Nope is Jordan Peele's new thriller horror western movie that just came out. I thought it was incredible, but some people didn't, including Logan Paul, who decided to share his opinions as to why the film is bad through a 13-tweet Twitter thread. After watching the film for a second time and spending hours researching, I've decided to take it upon myself to break down each of his tweets and explain why his points don't make sense or why they're just wrong. I will read his tweets one at a time and give my response after each tweet. So, his original tweet said, "Nope is one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time. I love Jordan Peele and Keke Palmer can act her ass off, but the movie is objectively slow and confusing with stretched themes that don't justify the pace." A thread. I knew as soon as I read the word objectively that we were going to be in for a treat. Let's just define that word, shall we? Objective. Adjective, expressing or dealing with facts or conditions as perceived without distortion by personal feelings, prejudices, or interpretations. Objectively, adverb, in an objective rather than subjective or biased way, with a basis in observable facts rather than feelings or opinions. Let's continue. It's not hard to conceptualize something disturbing. A trained chimp goes animalistic and mauls an entire set, or a UFO devours anything in its path. It is hard to sensibly tie it to the plot, which was done remarkably poor here. A series of questions, ... Spoiler alert. I guess this is a good time to say that this whole video will have tons of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it and then come back to this video. So he says, quote, "It's not hard to conceptualize something disturbing." I mean, I get what he's saying. I can create a disturbing version of what those scenes would look like in my head, but that's not even close to the way that Peele portrays them or the way that he makes me feel while doing it. He isn't making the worst point in the world here, but the quote, which is done remarkably poor here, is subjective, not objective. But let's move on. His first of many questions or issues starts with, "No one was curious how a quarter shot through a man's face and killed him, or why a key was lodged in the backside of the horse he was riding?" After first viewing, I thought it was pretty obvious that the alien would spit out all the parts of the people or things that it consumed that it couldn't use or digest, which we see later in the film when the alien spits out the metal horse and it lands in OJ's car. Also, clearly the aliens don't abide by our laws of physics or matter, as we see by the way it travels through the sky and how it changes shape. So why wouldn't it be able to spit out pieces of metal from people that it consumes? I don't get why that didn't click with him. The reason it was quarters and keys was because it would digest these people and it would spit out the metal or the stuff it didn't need, all of which was probably in these people's pockets, like keys to their house or their car or coins. I thought that was pretty clear. Tweet number 2. How/why did the shoe stand upright on the set of Gordy's home? This one I'm sure has a reason, but I haven't found anything that makes sense. Well, how and why are two different questions with different answers. So let's start with how. It could be a number of things. It's important to remember that the Gordy's home incident is a memory or flashback of when Jupe was a child. It wasn't a documented event. Nobody was there except for Jupe. As explained by the film reporter Jen Yamato in her Los Angeles Times article about the movie, maybe his mind's eye merely imagined the shoes standing impossibly in the air. And is he misremembering that just before being shot, Gordy turned to him in friendship? Maybe it was a freak accident with a 1 in a million chance of ever happening. Or it could be another supernatural anomaly that happened decades earlier. OJ uses the term bad miracle to describe the alien, and maybe the shoe standing upright could be another example of a bad miracle. Jupe took that shoe and is now profiting off his past trauma, a theme explored throughout the film. In regards to why the shoe stands upright, this could be interpreted in a number of ways as well. Something that I think needs to be made clear is that it doesn't need to have a clear reason as to why it happened. All of Jordan Peele's films have bits that are intentionally ambiguous to lead to different interpretations and discussions like we're having right now. In a moment, I'll explain a few ideas I've had and read about as to why the shoe was upright. But first, it's also important to note that I believe Nope is considered Afro-surrealist. I don't have time in this video to go into depth as to what exactly that is, but if you want a more comprehensive look at what Afro-surrealism is, check out Thomas Flight's video titled Why Donald Glover's Atlanta Feels So Weird. But in short, that means that some things just feel weird. Some things are off. That's intentional. It's a creative decision by Jordan Peele. My point with bringing up Afro-surrealism is to show that similar to other Afro-surrealist shows and movies like Sorry to Bother You or Atlanta, weird shit happens and is never explained. As written by Amiri Baraka in 1988 about the black author Henry Dumas, Dumas's power lay in his skill at creating an entirely different world organically connected to this one. The stories are fables, a mythological presence pervades. They are morality tales, magical, resonating dream emotions and images, shifting ambiguous terror, mystery, implied glorified revelation, but they are also stories of real life, now or whenever, constructed in weirdness and poetry, in which the contemporaneity of essential themes is clear. I think that word is actually contemporaneity, but it's kind of hard to say, so bear with me. To get back to the question of why the shoe stands up, which honestly, I don't think really needs to be explained. I don't think we need to know why it stands up, but it could be to show that this odd event, a bad miracle as the script puts it, makes Ricky believe he witnessed something special rather than a traumatizing experience. Maybe instead of just being a freak accident, the chimpanzee represented something greater. One interpretation could be that this traumatic incident is ingrained in Ricky's mind as a reason wild animals can be trusted, revered, or even worshipped, which would make sense considering Jupe has a line where he says, quote, "I think they trust us, because if they didn't, we wouldn't be here." He really has no evidence to back that up other than his life experience of the event that he had with Gordy, which could have just been total chance and luck. But he might believe that he had some control over that scenario and Gordy letting him live. The way that characters interact with wild animals and the way that they treat and view them is a theme that we see throughout the film. For example, OJ's views towards animals directly contrast Jupe's. OJ grew up as a horse trainer, learning how to tame them. He respects horses because he knows that they're animals and they could kill you, but they can be tamed or wrangled. I don't know what the proper term is in the horse community. We see this in the first act of the movie when OJ tries to get the film crew to not look at the horse directly in the eyes because he knows what could happen and what does happen. That's just one of many interpretations as to why the shoe might have stood upright, but like I said, why do we need to know that as a viewer? Aren't we allowed to have ambiguous aspects of a film? All right, that was a lot. Let's get to tweet number 3. The deep-voiced cinematographer was cryptic for no reason other than to be cryptic. You're telling me this guy was willing to die because he wanted better lighting to capture the ET? For real? Yes. For real. It makes a lot of sense to me. Tons of people risk their life to get the Oprah shot, as the film calls it, the thing that will lead to proof, money, fame, attention. Rock climbers die every year trying to break records or accomplish the impossible. Cliff divers often die while trying to make a risky jump. YouTubers have died or gone to jail for different clickbait video ideas. The first example that comes to mind is the couple that got arrested for staying inside a Walmart overnight for the sake of content. In fact, Logan Paul risked quite a bit in many of his videos, most notably the one where he filmed some bodies in a forest that he shouldn't have filmed. But he did it for the sake of views and money. Internet clout, baby! As a few people on Twitter pointed out, the idea of getting, quote, the shot was the only thing that made him help them out. This was the basis of his entire character background. So yes, for real. He was meant to be, quote, chasing the top of the mountain, which was really obvious because he physically walked to the top of the mountain to get the shot. In the film industry, people literally risk their lives for the perfect shot, and that's what he did. And he failed. That whole part was written by people on Twitter, so thank you, you beautiful writers. I thought that was worded perfectly. And to Logan's point about him being cryptic for no reason, I noticed at least one reason why he might have been cryptic. Near the climax of the film, when they're setting up to film the UFO, Holst, the cinematographer, starts popping some pills, and he looks pretty sick. So maybe he is sick with cancer and is going to die anyway. Therefore, why not try to get the Oprah shot one last time? I think that also ties into the themes he's playing with here, like this guy, rather than dying with his family, he's gonna just risk it all and die to get the shot. I'm sure there's more to pick up on regarding his character if I was to rewatch the film a third time, but that's what I got right now. Number 4, same note, man on the motorcycle. Why was his voice deep and robotic, framed to be an antagonist who'd have a grand reveal? Mystery solely for the sake of mystery is confusing and leaves too many open ends for a viewer trying to invest themselves in a storyline. Bro. What? Oh my god. Okay. The entire point is that he's faceless and his helmet is a reflective mirror. He's everyone. He's us. He's you, Logan Paul. He represents the people who are more concerned with getting the shot than anything else. He was focused on filming something that shouldn't be filmed, putting himself and everyone else in danger. And even after he got injured and was literally about to get consumed by the alien, all he could say was, "Where's my camera? Where's my camera?" It's not mystery for the sake of mystery. It's intentional ambiguity for the sake of tension and to make you think. I saw a tweet in response to this thread and it said, the movie is about him and people like him. And this is the perfect example. Some people will film anything, even like people in a forest in like a different country. Like, they'll film anything for the sake of views. Number 5, my next point. The storyline is all over the place. In a crowd of 40 people, the actress who was mauled on the set of Gordy's home was there. Why? Shock factor because of her scarring? Does she come to all of them? Did she come before the ET feeding? Bro, this man is on one. Why was she there? Well, it's made pretty clear that Jupe is still close friends with Mary Jo, so he invited her. She is there to support. You could also make the argument that it was used to show that there was another survivor of the traumatic experience that they both went through and bonded over, but they don't even need that reason. Why does there have to be a reason that she's there? He invited her, she's a friend of his, and so she's there. If you want to nitpick, then fine, but I don't see why there even needs to be a bigger reason, because he literally says, like, I invited her and that she is his old co-star. Number 6, Jupe has trauma with the phenomena. That's not a word. I know he meant phenomena, but phenom is not a word. Anyway, Jupe has trauma with the phenomena of commercializing predators for profit, and for the last 6 months, he's been feeding horses to an ET in the sky, ... But what about before that? What is the purpose of that creepy cowboy theme park? Okay. Jupe's claim to fame, as explained in the movie, like I'm not making any of this up, with context clues you can gather all of this info that I'm about to tell you. Jupe's claim to fame, before he ever got the role in the sitcom, was when he got the lead role in a Western show called Kid Sheriff. You can see the poster of Kid Sheriff in the movie, and he briefly mentions that role. It's also implied that Jupe couldn't get any more acting roles once he got older. So what did he do? He opened a theme park to emulate and profit off of his past role in Kid Sheriff. It's not that weird. Eventually, once the aliens came back, he commercialized and profited off his traumatic experience. Jupe's relationship with Gordy, if we assume that the monkey actually did fist bump him and he didn't just make that up in his head as a way to kind of process the trauma, made him believe that he was special. He felt that he genuinely had some control or mutual understanding with the animal, when in reality, he didn't. I mean, that's not to say he didn't have a bond with that animal, but what I'm saying is that it's a wild animal. They're unpredictable, and it was honestly good luck that Gordy didn't kill him too. It wasn't his doing that made Gordy not attack him. Jupe's belief that he had the trust and mutual understanding of this wild animal is a direct parallel to how he treats the alien. Once again, it comes back to his quote where he said, "I think they trust us, because if they didn't, we wouldn't be here." That's not necessarily true. That's a fallacy. I know that was a layered answer, but I hope that makes sense. Number 7, why was so much emphasis placed on the name of the horses? They had title cards. Why? I can't believe I have to explain this, but some movies, Logan, have title cards to separate acts or chapters, or for creative decisions that the director just wanted to make. It's just a title card, bro. They're in so many other movies. Nope is a film that's broken into chapters, and the title cards are the chapter titles. Also, the title cards aren't just names of the horses. One title card said Gordy before showing Jupe's backstory and the Gordy incident. One said Ghost before they figured out that the alien was there. Another thing that someone on Twitter pointed out that I thought was really cool that I did not think about at all was that each horse has its own personality. Each horse was wrangled. It was used to lead up to them trying to wrangle the alien, which, by the way, was given the name Jean Jacket in reference to the untrainable horse that was referenced earlier in the film. Also, an interesting side note that doesn't directly relate to his question here is that every character in the film is named something that could be a horse's name. OJ, Jupe, M, Angel, Antlers Holst, and Amber, and like there's more. And I mean, obviously, you know, Amber is a human name, but like Antlers Holst, that's the cinematographer's name. I don't know. I might be overanalyzing this, but considering how many other Easter eggs and hidden themes there are throughout the movie, I wouldn't be surprised if that was intentional. Number 8, why was Barbie Ferreira, an incredible acting talent, so underutilized in this movie? Why was she even in the movie? Dude, this guy can't be serious. Why do any actors ever have cameos? Why are there any side characters that have one line in movies? What a silly question. Like, you do realize there can be characters that just have a line. There's cameos from actors or actresses way bigger than Barbie Ferreira. All right, let's move on. Number 9, way to strip all the life from a phenomenal actor, Daniel Kaluuya, by casting him as possibly the most mundane, vanilla character I've ever seen. Not a question, I'm just pissed. Okay, when I read that out loud, now I'm starting to think that this whole tweet thread might have been satire, but I don't know. I think that's giving Logan Paul too much credit. Let's break it down for him once again. Daniel Kaluuya's character is a stoic cowboy that's traumatized by his father's death while dealing with an alien invasion while trying to keep a dying business afloat. Just because a character is reserved or quiet doesn't make them vanilla. So much is portrayed through what goes unsaid. As Chris Stuckman explained in his review of Nope,
Daniel Kaluuya is really good. You feel a lot of pain in this guy. He's really great with silence. It's really hard to find actors who are excellent at that and really just letting you read a lot of emotion without saying anything.
If you personally don't enjoy movies where the lead character spends a lot of time in silence, that's fine. But to call his performance mundane and vanilla is just so disrespectful to all the work that he's put in to make him the actor that he is today. To just say that that performance is mundane and vanilla when it's just clearly not. It's a nuanced, emotional performance, and so much emotion is shown through his eyes, his lips. Like, the lip movements of Daniel Kaluuya's character throughout this movie is something that I noticed multiple times. I just get so annoyed when someone says like, oh, the character was boring if they like didn't talk a lot. Some of my favorite movies have characters that barely talk at all, but that doesn't mean it's not a good performance, bro. You don't have to be talking the whole movie. God, I'm getting sweaty and stressed. Number 10, an extraterrestrial creature that is advanced enough to fully shapeshift, activate an anti-electromagnetic field, and propel itself in any direction quickly and quietly can't tell the difference between a plastic inflatable and a viable meal? Nope. In my opinion, one of the major points the film was trying to drive home is that the alien is an animal, just like any other animal. It has instincts, responds to its environment, and it learns. This is displayed in the film when OJ realizes that if you don't look it in the eye, it won't get you, similar to the horses that he trains. I thought it was pretty obvious the first time, but after my second viewing, it's very obvious that this thing is not some omnipotent, godlike alien that knows everything and can predict anything. Like, it's a creature. That's one of the big themes in this movie, is how they treat wild animals and use them as spectacles, with Gordy, with the show horses, and with this alien thing. Like I said earlier, the extraterrestrial definitely learns, because earlier in the movie, it would pick up something that it couldn't digest, and then it would spit it out. And at the end of the movie, obviously, it was tricked by the... what do you call that thing? The big balloon thing? I mean, I guess you could make the argument that an extraterrestrial like this should be way smarter than it is. But once again, I think one of the themes is that it's a creature. It's not just some all-knowing godlike figure. It adapts, it learns, it can get outsmarted. Oh my God, I am very sweaty. All right, his final tweet is this: I love Peele, the VFX, and aesthetic, but my thesis is this: I can feel him attempting to recreate the shock from Get Out and Us. Mystery, violent allure, and cinematic choices made for the sake of reaction instead of legitimate contribution to the storyline killed this movie for me. Clearly, Logan Paul didn't like this movie. I also think he didn't really understand the movie, and I think a lot of the themes went over his head entirely. And I also partly think that he posted this whole thread for the attention. I think at a certain point, people just want any attention and interaction, even if it's hate or negative attention, which is actually hilarious and ironic because, once again, this movie is literally about people just like him. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about Nope. I spent quite a bit of time researching this film, so if you enjoyed it, please drop a like and leave a comment if I missed anything or didn't pick up on certain themes or ideas. I'd love to learn more because I guarantee there's a lot that I didn't cover here. I've spent quite a few months away from YouTube trying to figure out what I want to do, what type of content I want to make, and I've decided that I really want to make more thoughtful, engaging, and just unique film and TV analysis videos. I also have some goofier ones coming up where I interview some strangers on Omegle about different movies and TV shows, and I'm going to be uploading regularly again, so if you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe. I am planning on uploading every other week to start, and I might get to the point where I'm uploading every week again, so thank you all so much for the support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.